Hi friends, welcome to our new video. In last video we saw what is flexible exchange rate. So as a continuation of that, in today's session we are going to see what is fixed exchange rate. It's type of exchange rate system which exists when the central bank buy and sell foreign currencies to ensure that the value of its currency stays at a pegged value, that is a single fixed rate. It means in fixed exchange rate system, the central bank of the nation keep its currency value fixed against other countries' currencies. That particular type of exchange rate is known as exchange rate system is known as fixed exchange rate. There are two concepts associated with fixed exchange rate, that is known as devaluation and revaluation of currencies. Revaluation occurs when the price of currency operating in the fixed exchange rate system is officially and deliberately increased. Revaluation means the government or the central bank officially increase the external value of a country's currency. That particular process is known as revaluation. The next concept is devaluation. It occurs when the price of a currency operating in a fixed exchange rate system is officially and deliberately lowered. It means when the government, the central bank, officially lower the external value of a country's currency, that is known as devaluation. So this devaluation and revaluations are two important terms which is associated with the fixed exchange rate system, because in this particular system government is, or by the central bank itself, maintaining the external value of a country's currency with other country's currency. There are various advantages and disadvantages associated with fixed exchange rate system. So let's see some advantages of fixed exchange rate system. The first advantage is reduce uncertainty. We know in fixed exchange rate system, the country's external value of currency is stable. So that's why we call that is fixed exchange rate, right? So in fixed exchange rate system, the external value of a country's currency is stable against other countries' currency. In that particular case, it will increase the business confidence. That is, we know in international trade, or there are multinational companies, there are people doing businesses in other countries, right? So there what's happening, a country's currency is exchanging with other countries' currency. In that case, the business person can assure that he will get an assured return from that particular trade, even if he is buying or selling goods and services. So that uncertainty can be reduced. So business persons can ensure a certain return from the trade. So that is the first advantage of fixed exchange rate. Then the next advantage is avoid currency fluctuations. It means here the value of country's currency will be same for a particular period of time. The value of currency fluctuates significantly. This can cause problems for firms engaged in trade. If the firm rely on importing raw materials, a devaluation would increase the cost of imports and would reduce profitability. So these kinds of fluctuations can be avoided in fixed exchange rate system, because the country's currency value is same against other countries' currency. The other advantage is keeping inflation rate lower, because when we consider international market, the price of goods and services which a country is selling abroad will almost be same, since the exchange rate is stable. So that will help the buyers to get the product at a same rate, since the exchange rate is not changing. So it will help the countries to maintain the or lower the rate of inflations. That is the another advantage of keeping a fixed exchange rate system, that is keeping the inflation rate lower. And at the same time, there are so many disadvantages also associated with fixed exchange rate system. Let's see some disadvantages too. First one is conflict with other objectives. So we know there are 4-5 macroeconomic objectives. I will do a separate video on macroeconomic objectives. So this particular attaining or keeping a fixed exchange rate system, or that is keeping a stable exchange rate foreign exchange system, is one of the, or foreign exchange value for the currency is one of the macroeconomic objective. But if the country is following a fixed exchange rate system which will conflict with other macroeconomic objectives, there are 4-5 macroeconomic objectives, so it will conflict with those objectives. That is the other disadvantage of keeping a fixed exchange rate system. Then the next disadvantage is high foreign reserves. That is, country has to keep a high amount of foreign currencies with them to maintain the exchange market stable, because we know in the market the value of country will be maintained on the basis of demand and supply of foreign currencies. So if the market is changing, according to that the country has to supply its foreign currencies to maintain the fluctuations in the market, foreign exchange market. So it will need a lot of foreign exchange reserve for the country. Then the next disadvantage is setting the level of fixed exchange rate is not simple. So it's not so easy. We can't just keep a exchange rate what we think. So there are a lot of procedures. Economist has to think a lot before setting a proper exchange rate system, exchange rate with other countries, else it will affect the international trade of that particular country. So if suppose if the country is keeping a high exchange rate system, what will happen? It will affect the demand for that particular country's goods and services in other countries. And at the same time, if the country keep a lower exchange rate, what will happen? The country need to pay a high amount of money to buy goods and services from abroad. A simple example. So these kinds of difficulties will come when if we are not setting the exchange rate in a proper level. So that is the next disadvantage. Then international disagreement. So that is, if we are keeping an inappropriate exchange rate systems, other countries will make disagreement with our country. A lower exchange rate will make the country's exports more competitive on other markets, and they may seen as an unfair trading advantage. Yeah, so this kind of, if we are keeping a low exchange rate system, then other countries, definitely our products demand in the international market will increase. So other countries will make issues against our country's exchange rate. So these kinds of disagreements will come when we are keeping a inappropriate exchange rate. So these are some disadvantages we have while keeping a fixed exchange rate system. So if you have any more doubts on this particular topic, so please do comment me. I will try to help you. Okay, so in last class we saw what is flexible exchange rate system. In this particular video we only saw what is fixed exchange rate system, and there is one more exchange rate that is known as managed floating exchange rate that we will be uploading in the will be seeing in the coming video. Okay, thank you. Do refer the videos, and if you have any more doubts, please ask. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.